You can't erase a red tail. Those group of men, and I heard a few women that came out of that HBCU in the middle of Alabama where sky be big and blue like the flag that they keep telling us to pledge allegiance to. Them boys and them bombers with jackets to match and swagger that we try our best to either mimic or unpack, that allowed them to go way, way up in the air where they could not bear the fact that it was a red tail that got some of them white boys home. Them red tails that they whisper about and write books about, and that at last count, it ain't too many more that we can even talk to them about. Them red tails that were requested to escort and were able to do feats unparalleled to the point that when they did Top Gun, when the Tuskegee Airmen won, they didn't want to advertise that. You see, the first Maverick was probably black. It's them red tails that they try to erase because they don't want this country to ever see the face of real heroes and what they look like under pressure. Those same men who we find as grandfathers and fathers and cousins and brothers whom chose duty rather than match energy with someone that he knew he was over. Morality be duality 30,000 feet up in the air when you feel that you can't bear the fact that it was a black man that saved you. And from that recollection, isn't it a little bit of reflection that is needed in order for you to be humble that once more, yet again, it was black men who saved your life. And this liberty that you keep saying that your grandfathers paid the price, but at the same time, the men who look like mine and my grandfather had to eat in the back of restaurants and had lunches pitched to them while there were German POWs that got the best seats, but they were never asked to sit by the kitchen. Them red tails that they made movies about, that we whisper about, that without them, you wouldn't have no people to speak about. How dare you try to erase them in a land they helped defend, but it's fitting. And ain't that just like white men? Trying to control a narrative by which they want to make into story, but it's fitting that story in this nation has an HIS in front of it, but when you try to correct it and put us where we belong in it, that they get the most ignorant. This place will be nothing without our suffering that we turned into triumph, that we excel at, that we still push forward in. And isn't it great that HBUs are now teaching aviation? Because black boys need to know they can fly too, and not just in J's. And maybe too is why the first J's worn by 23 were red, white, and black, because that color, them colors, are what freedom be made of. And isn't it fitting that in all that winning, and all that delivering, and all that running and saving, that it was still men in white spaces and black planes with red tails? See, history, when taught well, never fails.